I live in Asheville, North Carolina right now. My house is actually in Kentucky, so I've been a gypsy for the last 3 years, and so that's where I'm living at today. Well, actually, today I'm here. So I do what I call them soul readings because I don't know what else to call it at this point. And when I work with people, I just I command a reading and healing for them, and it's like, and so I connect to my heart, to their soul, and then to Creator, and then I asked for their soul to reveal to me what is the most beneficial for them now. So it can be really different, you know, from one person to the next of what I'm doing, because I work in all of the planes of existence. I don't just, like, I'm not an angel lady. It's like, but if angels come in for you, then they're there. So I work with all of the planes, and sometimes it's like inner child work and stuff like that. And so through the years, while I've been doing the work, when I take my awareness in, I see grids when I'm working with people that look like geometry. They look like sacred geometry. And so sometimes when I'm doing that, I would see these grids, and there'll be discordant energy, like the lines are broken and there's things all raveled up and wrapped up into it and stuff like that. And so when I ask Spirit and I listen, then I get the answers of what things are. So with that work through the years, I was calling those like distorted matrices that are out there, and they're in human consciousness in the collective. So the way I see it is kind of like we all chose to come here. You know, it's like we didn't come to the planet of love and light. That is not what this planet is. There are other planets that are that, but we chose to come here to bring the vibration to help Earth go into being the planet of love and light, because it's not yet. And so when we signed up to do that, we chose a DNA pattern that we inherited from our parents, and then we also take on a soul template. And I see soul a little bit different than what, you know, my Southern Baptist background told me a soul was. And it's like, so it's like Creator, God, Spirit, Divine, whatever you want to call it, consciousness calls out and says, I need this vibration. I need this to go to Earth. You know, who wants to come and sign up and do this mission? So your spirit, your light steps forward and says, I'll be the one that does it. So you put on your little, oh, I didn't start that one. Oh, well, this one's been recorded over here. You put on your little DNA uniform and pick your parents, and then you pick a soul imprint that you're going to carry that's going to help clear all, you know, karma for the masses, for yourself and for the masses. So it's so that's what we're doing, is clearing these vibrations, these distortions that had started at some time. And the way I see that, in my experience, the DNA patterns actually came even before Earth. It's like their energies that came from other galaxies in existence and stuff. And when Earth was created, it's like all that came together in a melting pot. And then so we took that on from all kinds of, you know, starseed existences to come here to be human form, and to transmute these energies. So we're transmuting the energies for everything, for the whole existence. And it's like Earth is the place that's doing that. And it's like, so actually to be here, you know, even though sometimes it sucks, it's the, you know, we took this on to be here to help this, and then we don't remember. That's the thing. When we come through those matrices and they're belts like that are out there. People call them the veils, but when we come through that, then we don't remember things after we get here. Or maybe we do, and then we start shutting it down as we're here in the experience. So those DNA patterns that we chose from our family, when you choose that, it's archetypal patterns that you're taking on. And you're going to be the one that's going to develop that. Either you'll take them and use them as the gift that they are, and then the ones that are distorted, that need some healing, some of your martyrs and victims and energies like that, like addiction patterns and stuff, when you choose that to take that on, then you're saying, I'll be the one that's going to take this on Because if I heal this, then it heals that energy for the collective. And then every time that clears, then that vibration won't exist anymore, and nobody will have to carry it. So if you have anybody like that in your family, and sometimes, you know, people are the black sheep and all that, they're honestly taking a burden that you didn't have to, you know. And if we can look at people like that, when people display stuff, you know, out in front of us, that, wow, you have a lot of potential to develop, because that's what it is, you know. It's like everything wants to be the light. And so if there's any darkness that anybody, you know, negativity, denseness, whatever you want to call it, that somebody's expressing, there, you know, that just means there's a lot of potential to develop. And it's just remembering that, you know, even with your people you work with, your coworkers and stuff like that, it's like, wow, that's a whole lot there. So that's what we're all doing, okay? And so on this planet, we took on the free will consciousness, okay? And it's the energy of that, and we wanted to have free will to see what we could do with it. And that's where actually a lot of the distortions have came from, because nobody knew what we would do with free will. You know, it's like a lot of the celestial beings, our hierarchy, and those that support us and are, you know, developed Earth and all that, they've not been here. So they don't really know, you know, exactly what it takes to do stuff. It's like kind of an experimental, you know, thing. It's like sending you to Antarctica, and they haven't been to Antarctica, and you're there and you go, I need this now so we can live. So it's like that's sending that energy in your prayers and intentions and however you do up to, you know, divine beings, to Creator, to tell them what you need, because they need to know. They don't really know what we need. It's like they got an idea, but we have to ask for it. So they can be our team and partner with us and bring that to us. So a lot of them haven't been here. They don't know what it's like to be in this, because they're still celestial beings, or they've been to planets that are higher consciousness than what's been here. So some of that free will stuff through time even got more distorted, because people used their will against each other. You know, they started using it for some way, they got lost and started using it for power, you know, and thought that some way that would give them more and that kind of stuff, and doing manipulation things against people, wars, you know, murder, things like that. So that just added to the collective. It's just added more and more to it. So as we clear our own stuff and we become more like a higher vibration, we won't carry that stuff for the collective anymore. Because right now it's like if you're doing work yourself and you clear stuff and you know that you've cleared this a pattern that you've had and you've seen it clear, and then all of a sudden you get hit with something again, it's because there's some vibration that you're still carrying within your DNA that shows itself. And it's like, and I see it like I didn't bring my board to draw on. I wish I had stuff so I could draw. It's like a dump truck, okay? It's like there's this dump truck, and it goes around, and it's picking, you know, like the trucks that pick up the stuff in the parking lot. So it's like sweeping all of this stuff up, all the debris that's been left. Then it gives it to the dump truck, and then the dump truck comes and dumps that back in to the consciousness, okay? And so it comes down, consciousnesses came in through our mind. So it's all this chaos is out here in all of these energies. And then we have these energy grids that come off of us. It's called accitonal lines. And so that energy goes out, and it's our little antennas to consciousness, to, you know, the higher realms and all of that stuff. Well, it gets this debris in it when we go through emotional trauma, and then we throw a part of ourself out from our chakra, so that's stuck in our grid. Okay, so it's got little things stuck in it. And then when all of the energy is collected and it dumps back into the consciousness again, kind of to be recycled, so that we'll have another round of clearing it off. If you have any of those little stuck places or pieces that are fragmented out, then it's going to go to you. It's going to go into your consciousness again. Because it's those parts that just want to still be developed. So you've still got the sign saying, I'm here, you know, so it comes in. And that energy has came there's like a funnel here. And it's came through our system, and it goes through our crown and then down through this middle column, prana tube, people call hara line, whatever that is you want to call that. It's this main energy source that's down through here. And then it hits that. And then right here we have this little Star of David that holds these archetypal patterns that we said that we would come in and develop to its full potential. So it hits it like a pinball machine, and that starts spinning out. And then that energy comes out into your field, and it'll go through your chakras, and then you'll start sending a signal out that'll draw whoever to you to play out these roles. You know, so if you're carrying some kind of victim energy that wants to be healed, so we have the archetypal patterns from the female and the male, and it doesn't matter whether you're a male or female, you're carrying both sides of it. So if it was a female that was carrying some type of victim energy that needs to be empowered to stand in its own power, then that victim is going to draw to them either a rescuer or a persecutor. It's going to draw one of the two to them. It's like, and that energy could be the male victim. Either way, I'm just using that as an example because it wants to heal that vibration. And so when it can't do it within itself, that's the drama dance that we play in. And when we can't do it within ourselves, we call it in somebody outside of us to bring us that vibration. So the rescuer will give you the vibration and rescue you, and then you'll feel like what that's like to be balanced again and to be in your wholeness. But if you may pick up the pattern that you have to keep doing that. You know, that you're still the damsel in distress, the princess, and you have to keep being rescued and rescued and rescued. You're still looking for your whatnot, your prince to come and rescue you. And that archetypal pattern, that rescuer pattern, even though it seems all noble and everything, it's also a wounded pattern too. Because to fulfill its significance, it has to rescue somebody. It can't rescue anybody if there's no victims out there. So we just keep the game going. And then the persecutor would be somebody that, you know, maybe beats the crap out of you. And it's like, and it happens over and over and over until you take your own power and stand in your own power. So it's that energy that just wants to stand back in its power. Does that make sense to you all? Do you understand? So that's this game that we're playing. It's like we're playing all of these roles of this. And so what's happening is, as consciousness is moving up, we are moving out of those frequencies in the game. Okay? The game's changing. The human design is changing. This energy that we took on is like the energetic stuff that we took on to be with the chakra system. Because the chakra system is actually, because we didn't know how to use emotional energy. So that's been part of the experiment here, was to see what would happen with all this emotional energy. Because when you're in divine will, you don't experience all of that. You know, you're more in this even keel bliss kind of thing. So when we took on free will, we took on the roller coaster of emotions, which is energy in motion. And we've used that energy however it is that we've used it. That's what the human form's done. So when that energy comes down and it goes through us, then it cycles through those chakras. And so when you experience trauma, depending on what the trauma was, it connects to a certain chakra, and you'll either freeze or like blow a piece out. And when you blow that piece out, it's out here in your field. So it's like bouncing around everywhere. So we have all this stuff, these little energy lines that come off of us. That's our threads of consciousness, and this stuff is stuck on it, and it's bouncing around. And so it's like balloons. It's like in the comics, we strip the little balloons. So my balloon bounces up against your balloon, and sometimes they get all entangled and enmeshed, and then we get all stuck with each other, and we play out these things because we want our balloons back. And it's like, so we get in this big tug of war with each other. And when we only wanted to be healed to begin with, but we're looking for that needs to be fulfilled externally. And that's what we're all here playing this game of this. And when you start standing in your own power, then you don't look externally to have your needs fulfilled. And it doesn't mean you won't still have relationships. You get to be in harmony with people instead of in this tug of war thing that's been going on. And so the system that we're moving into The chakra system is moving into a unified chakra system, and this has been going on for a while. So it won't be separated out like it is right now, and then that energy and those emotions go through each one of them, and then we play this out. It will be, the energy then will come like up through us and go around us like this, and consciousness will come through the heart and not through the mind first. And when it starts coming through the heart, that's when you see through the eyes of Creator, you see the divine in everybody, and they may demonstrate stuff for you, but you can see them through that unconditional love, and then know that, you know, they're carrying a burden, and they don't know what to do with it yet. So that's where we're moving into, and that's when we go into the planet of love and light. And it's like, so Earth was actually set up to be 6-dimensional energy. And if you can even Google and look on, like, there's physics stuff wrote about all the different dimensions. And so we've been in 3D, and a lot of people, energies are already moving up into the 5th dimension. And so, but the 5th dimension still has parallels in timelines. And so we're going down through here, and then we have a trauma. So this part of us splits off and makes a branch. Okay, so it does this. So that part is still like living in that parallel existence. And then that branches out here still going on with whatever its scenario is that it wants to be complete. And then another part of us is still moving this way. Something else happens, we split off another way. So we are creating all these parallels that we're living in. So aspects of us are living out in all of those timelines, okay? And sometimes you'll get this in your dreams. You'll feel like you're still going through something that you went through in your life or something, and it'll feel so real, and you're like, what was that about? Well, some part of your consciousness is still there. And even that part's hard of me, that all this time is going simultaneously and it's all split off. But it's like, so the scientists know this. The physicists are writing about it. They're writing about the string theory and all the parallel existences and stuff. So what's starting to happen is we're going to collapse those, okay? And I don't know if that's the right word, but it'll mend and it'll come together. And in the 6th-dimensional frequency, it's like an arc-like energy. And that is the energy, that's the Christ consciousness energy. It's what Jesus embodied to walk in. And there's been other beings also that have embodied that energy. So that energy is what's actually coming in. And when we move into that frequency, then all that other game, there'll probably be some new game that will start, just because, you know, it's fun to start new games. But that's where we're going, and who knows how much time that's going to be. And some people will move into those frequencies faster than others, and as you move into it, then it helps bring the vibration up for all of humanity. And so when that happens and we go into this unified chakra system, that it'll move like this through us, like a fountain, okay? And all of this will just go together. It won't be separate. It won't have to, because the root chakra is all about survival, you know, and the sacral chakra is about relationships. You won't have those needs trying to fulfill that energy and pull in that stuff into you. You'll know what survival is. You'll know that it's right here next to you. You know, I said at the beginning that I've been a gypsy for the last 3 years. Well, I was down in Florida doing a gig like this, and I thought, I want to live in Florida. You know, I've always wanted to live in Florida. I just want to do that. So the very next day, I stopped at her house, which really wasn't on the way home. I was in Sarasota, and she lived in Jacksonville, which that's not on the way home to Kentucky. Okay, I should have gone straight up this way. But I went to go see her on the way home. And she's a healer and does sound things, and she was going to Mexico. The country was flying in like 52 healers to do this work there. They knew they needed it. And so she needed a house sitter. And we were finishing each other's sentences, and I thought, I just said yesterday I want to come to Florida. I'll take it. You know, there's the beach here. It's like, and I get to be here for 6 weeks and decide if I want to live in Florida. So when I did that, I went home. My daughter called me. She wanted money to move out of some, you know, roommate situation. Could I help her? I was like, take the house. You know, I'll be back in 6 weeks. You can figure out what you're going to do. It's been 3 years, and Thanksgiving, I spent the night in my house for the first time in 3 years. It's like I've been one gig after another. It's when I finish where I'm at, somebody else calls me and I'm off to the next place. And it's like, so it's been, fun traveling. And so mostly what I'm doing is pet setting for people that are going on these trips. So this lady had a iguana and like 3 cats. It's one of those dragons. So I was house setting a dragon. And so the dragon, I had crickets that I had to feed the dragon, okay? And I had a meltdown. I kept telling myself somewhere they had chose this existence, that they came here and they knew this was going to happen. It wasn't working for me, okay? But I kept telling myself that every day. It was one thing, the iguana was living in the big terrarium, okay? It's like, he chose this, I get it. But I had to put these crickets in this sack that had this calcium stuff in it, because if he was in nature, he'd eat a mouse every once in a while and get some calcium. Well, he didn't have that, so I had to put the crickets in that and shake and bake them. It's like, they get all white. She told me not to let them loose because they could get in his ear and because they'll try to hide. So here my energy is putting the crickets out and then trying to herd them to him. And I'm chasing them all over the place. They're losing limbs. It's horrible. I sat down and do this big meltdown. I felt like I was Hitler's handmaiden. It was like, I can't do this anymore. It's like, and the crickets were dying on me every day. It's like I'd go in there and I thought, what do crickets eat beside each other? It was started getting really disgusting. And she forgot to tell me I was supposed to give them little potatoes, because if you give them the potatoes, then they eat that and get. So I had them captured and they're dying every day because they're not being fed. It was horrible. So I was sitting on the floor crying over the crickets. And I thought, I don't know what to do anymore. And when I did, I looked up and the dragon is looking at me and he starts going. And he just looked straight at me. And the crickets start coming out where they've been hid in places. And they do this little thing. And he looks at me and he goes, and then the cricket gets to his food bowl. It jumps in his food bowl. And he, and I was like, and then he looks at me, he does his head, and then the next cricket comes up. And they did this and they were doing it for me, and they were doing this whole little line where they did this thing. And I was like, what is going on here? Okay, my teacher is here to show me. So I asked him if I could be one with his consciousness to see what was happening. And as soon as I asked it, he like looks at me and he does his head like that. And I went straight into his brain. And it's like, and what he showed me was the frontal lobe and the reptilian brain, which the reptilian brain in our brain gets all kinds of, bad stuff about the reptilian brain because it's all about survival and all of this stuff. Well, his reptilian brain and his frontal lobe, and then even to the top of his crown, his God connection, it wasn't separated. It was an infinity symbol that went back and forth. He wasn't separated at all. My brain was. And the amygdala is the part of your brain that holds on to the traumas. So that part was just spinning around, and it's feeding energy to my reptilian brain that's telling survive, 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 survive. And his was all connected. And then the crickets started singing, and I was like, you stupid cricket, he can hear you. He'll know where to come get you at. And then I asked the cricket if I could be one with its consciousness, and it was all expanded. It was, it was so light and so expanded. And I was like, he can hear you. And the cricket said, that's why I sing. He knows survival is right here. It's part of the whole. And he never has to think about it because he knows it's this close to him. And it's like, so that's out there. And when we move out of these structures that we're in, we'll be in that energy, that it just is. It always is. It's always taken care of. Because they know that. And even though they have been interfered with humanity and they were in this captivity for our own significance that we do this, they still had their thing going on. They knew what the flow was and what their purpose was and what the whole thing was about. So from that, he showed me that, and then he showed me how to go back into self-love. And it's like when we feel that non-acceptance here on earth that first time, some part blows out. And when it does, we take that self-love and we start hiding it. Because when we feel the non-acceptance, we think there's something wrong with me. You know, if I'm not accepted, I'm trying to give love. And it may even be nonverbal, and you don't understand what's going on because you just came here to be love. And we hide that self-love, and we take a layer of hate, self-hate, and we put it over it. It's like a blanket. Because where else are you going to hide it that nobody can find it? And then nobody can steal your self-love for you, but then it gets so hidden we can't find it ourselves. And so he showed me that, and where I had done that with myself, and then how to bring that back into my heart where it's supposed to be living and not where I'd stashed it at. And so from that, I started teaching a workshop that was how to reconnect this brain and do the infinity symbol with it and then the self-love thing. So I was traveling for about a year teaching that. Last year, I left Asheville and went back to Kentucky and then traveled in that area, and I went to go see the Dalai Lama. And the night before I saw the Dalai Lama, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I heard this little voice that said, you know, free will is a distorted matrices, just like all those other matrices that you're seeing that are out there that's distorted and that we're plugged into. And I was like, what? And they were going, that's a distorted matrix too, that your planet has taken on and it's distorted it. And they said, you don't have to be in that. And I said, what does that mean if I don't have free will anymore? And they said, you have divine will. If you move out of free will, you get to have divine will. And they said, do you want to try it? And I was like, sure. And it's like, can I have the other back if this doesn't work? And so, because sometimes that happens to me, God's come in and work on me in the middle of the night. And so they did this piece on me and released some of this so that consciousness is not running through like it was before. I know I'm different inside, you know, and it's even hard because everybody still knows you and they know who you are and they expect you to act in a certain way. And I observe that, you know, I like observe, sometimes I pick it back up. Like I was home for the last, couple of days. You pick it back up sometimes when you're in family because they expect you to do these patterns. And it was a stressful week for me. When I got here, I was like frazzled from being home for a week. So I can tell all of those things that they've unplugged me from and that I'm choosing to be unplugged from, it really is working. You know, it's like the decoding is happening and the other frequencies are coming in. Because we don't even know what love is. It's like, it's so distorted. It's been used for control and all kinds of stuff. So when you start releasing from some of that, and then you can plug into those frequencies of divine love, and then that energy starts coming in to support you. So that's what I'm doing. That's what the workshop tomorrow that I'm teaching is about too, going in, and I'm doing it in a group process because I do it individually on people, but going in and clearing stuff. And then after you clear out some of those matrices, when you download the new grids, they'll be able to hold better and you won't have to go through as much stuff with it, you know. And stuff's still dumping, but when it does happen, you recognize it right away and you're like, oh wow, this happened for me today because there's some piece of me that's still hanging on to something. And I recognize that and I move through it really fast because I get the awareness immediately that this person somewhere on some level, even though in that moment it might not feel like it, but they love me so much they showed up in this soul that's bringing this to me right now in this moment so that I can move into a higher frequency. And you start seeing that like really fast, and then you're not stuck in that scenario that we're building of that in your mind going over and over and over with the story and trying to, because that's what I saw this week, how those parallels split out too. When we're in that scenario or trying to finish it in a different way, something that happened, and we're still playing it out, well, if I had done this, and if I had said this, well, then when he said this, if I had, then when we're doing that, we're making all of those branches going off because those parts of us are still out there doing that. It's Groundhog's Day. They're still waking up every day, replaying it over and over until they get what they think the way it should be. And when you release that, then you're not still in that energy. And it's like you have more energy for yourself, for your own vitality. It's like I can tell that difference in myself too. You know, that it's like there's just more usable energy for me in whatever it is that I'm doing. Has anybody got any questions with any of this? I'll take a breath and see if there's any. I'm channeling actually while I'm talking, so I don't even, that's one reason we're recording everything, because I'll never know what I said. It's like sometimes when people ask me, I'm like, what? And then it's like, oh, but I can pull the energy back and do replays too, so I found out I can do that my brain works in the different stuff. Yeah?
When you were talking about talking to your guys about the divine and thinking that way, how did that go?
Oh, what happened was they went into me and released this, and I saw this little, you know, and it may look different to somebody else. It's like my experiences of the visuals that they give me. So I saw this little, like, Star of David, Merkaba, that sits right here in the back of our occiput, and it keeps us going through past lives, and, you know, we're coming back in with that energy. And then I knew we had 3 internal ones, but I hadn't seen that one sitting there before. And there was one here, and it had this, like a belt that was running through my system that helped me in this stuff with relationships and on this same free will cycle and getting up again and doing it over and over and over. And so when I asked for it, when I said, okay, I'll be a guinea pig, release it, I felt that go out of my body. I felt that whole belt release. And I was at my parents, and I thought, oh, what am I going to do? I didn't, you know, it's like I knew who these people were, but I didn't have this relationship with them anymore. Well, thank God they were going to Nashville for the next 2 days, and I got to just be there, you know, and set like a kind of like this for a couple of days because I didn't have some of this personality stuff anymore. And so you're kind of like, whoa, what happened? And so I could feel that, and that changed. And then it's just, I don't know, it was already things just kind of happened for me. And then it's even more that than it was before. It's like if you're walking in that path of divine will, it's just all taken care of for you. You know, it just happens. And you start realizing things that you would have thought before were bad aren't. So it's that, you know, I'm just giving you all examples of everyday life things. Not just white crazy woo-woo stuff and I'm, you know, out in spaceships and doing things in other dimensions. That part happens too. But in your practical everyday life, it's just, that's what's going on. And this whole 6-dimension grid that I saw come in,
5 minutes.
oh gosh, I wanted to do meditation with them. Okay. Y'all want to do a meditation before? What we're going to do is a soul recalibration. And so here at your sternum is where you come in and where your soul braids in at. And it braids in with that DNA imprint in your human aspect. So if you don't want to do it, you can just sit and be quiet, or you can leave the room. It doesn't matter. But we're going to command that this recalibrate back into that pristine energy that you came to be, the gift that you are to humanity before you got all enmeshed with everybody else, okay? And then we're going to just spray the energy up, and I'm going to activate your infinity grids. Ready? Okay, so just breathe in and come into your own heart, just into your own awareness. So we're just going to do a little creator of all that there is, command that this soul assimilation point recalibrate back to this pristine energy, to the gift. And you can say your name in your head if you want to, that you are to humanity. And you may feel some pressure there, and it might even hurt a little bit. So it's going to clear all the enmeshments and any entanglements that no longer serve your higher purpose. So just breathe that in. I'm moving you all through it a little fast, but it'll still be happening. And then we're going to drop that energy all the way down through your body. That energy from that's going to go down below your feet. And there's an earth core star, and there's a little keyhole there that's yours. This is where you connect to Gaia, the spirit of earth. and her love and support's there for you. Feel that connection of her heart to your heart and how much she loves you. And so below your feet there's an infinity symbol, and we're going to activate that. And that energy uploads into your system, and it's the knowing and feeling and understanding of your earth purpose, how to stand in it, what it's like to stand in that purpose, in that partnership with Gaia. And that energy moves up through your body, and then we're going to come to the knees, and there's another infinity symbol there. And when this one activates, it's that knowing, feeling, and understanding of how to walk forth with that soul purpose and your earth purpose in alignment. And then that moves on up, and it comes to what we call the root chakra at the hips, and there's another infinity symbol there. And when that one activates, this is Creator's definition of survival and the truth of what that is. And every cell of your body, that knowing and feeling and understanding of that. What it's like to be in alignment with the truth. And then the energy's going to just chain up through the rest of those chakras, because it's setting up that grid to go into that unified system. And it's going to go back across that heart through that soul point, and all the way up through your throat and out through your third eye. I'm going to ask for your all's brain to calibrate into that infinity symbol that I was talking about with the reptile taught me, the dragon. And then up above, past your crown, up your transpersonal chakra, which is about 3 feet above your head. That's where your higher self lives. The energy is going to go all the way through that too, and out through that higher self, connecting to it and aligning your higher self, your earth purpose, and your soul purpose together. Connected to that earth core. And then there's another infinity symbol, and we're going to activate that one. This is that knowing and feeling and understanding of your solar purpose, which is your God consciousness energy, which is bigger than what goes on here at Earth. And that connects to your solar star, which is that piece of spirit that never left God and has always been there. So just breathe that in. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and be here in this time we call now, with this energy that you can step forward in. The work will still happen even though we went through it fast, because if you did agree to it, it'll be there. You may feel some stuff.